Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Jared Powley's Fragrance Reviews. Tonight, I'm going to be reviewing a fragrance, which is one of the first fragrances I ever purchased. It would have been somewhere in the early 90s, around 1991, 92, when I was just exiting junior high or just entering high school. This fragrance is called Joop Homme. It's an EDT eau de toilette from 1989. So this would have been the original formulation. I like to call this one the Sweet Beast. This is a very strong and potent fragrance. The modern formulation cannot compare to this. This actually, when you first smell it, it almost paralyzes your nostrils. With that said, this is a polarizing scent. People like to compare it to Creed Original Santal or Mont Blanc Individual. I consider this quite different on many terms, especially in the potency of this scent. Some people think this is a dated fragrance, but back in the late 80s, early 90s, this was a groundbreaker. The spray can be, for many people, it can be harsh, gritty, a kind of a gritty sweetness, and it can be tough to wear. You got to be very careful on the applications. As you can see, if this bottle is almost 35 years old, 33, 34 years old, and I've only used maybe a tenth of it because one spray is all you need on the original formulation, and over the years it has not lost its potency. So I'm going to take off the cap and give it a spray. So right away, it's kind of a head snapper. It's a very sharp, spicy sweetness that at first it catches you so quickly, it makes it almost impossible to define any notes. But as it dries down, it is a potent vanilla cinnamon, which is definitely nostril penetrating. Later on, it has a heavy push and projection. It's still very spicy, warm, sweet, with cinnamon and vanilla dominating the fragrance. This is one that I appreciate. And like I said, it is somewhat hard to wear, but was something that I did not wear that often because of the fact I found there were other options at that time that were not as commanding. So when you would wear this scent, you would get compliments from people. It had to be very positive or very negative. And there was a lot of smart remarks about, oh, you're laying it on very thick. Wow, that's a heavy cologne. Why are you putting on so much? And it was just one spray. So in terms of the projection, this fragrance was one of the finest projecting fragrances and room fillers, so to speak, that I have ever worn. As advertised, the top notes are orange blossom, mandarin, bergamot, and Amalfi lemon. The mid notes are cinnamon, heliotrope, jasmine, cardamom, lily of the valley. The base notes are vanilla, tonka bean, sandalwood, patchouli, honey, tobacco, and vetiver. And I just want to make one comment about when people say a beast mode and what that actually means, because some people, I think, just talk about performance, but a lot of the fragrance now, they say, oh, it has beast mode in performance, but not in smell. The true beast mode fragrances are from the 70s, 80s, and early 90s because of the fact they had the ingredient or the note basically of oak moss, which gave it a very animalistic scent. So this one doesn't have the animalistic scent to it, and it has beast mode performance, but not in the scent. And I think that a lot of the fragrance from the 70s and 80s, the real heavy beastly fragrances, could not be worn today because people aren't accustomed to them. So if you started smelling fragrances, let's say in the 2010, 2007, and if you were to smell something from the 80s, such as an Aramis or a Polo Green, something of that nature, it would be such a shock to you that you wouldn't even know how to define it. So I think that this fragrance here was a definite groundbreaker in its day, and I think that it blazed a trail for fragrances that would follow. People call this a gourmand. I do not consider it a gourmand. I think it's definitely something that was unique at its time, and there's other fragrances that are like it. The new formulations definitely have less power, and they're very tamed down from the original version. And I have smelled the newer versions, and it has much more of a synthetic vibe, almost like a cherry cough syrup, This has a more natural scent to it. So if you ever come into contact with a vintage bottle, maybe something you want to smell, and if you really like Creed Original Santal or Mont Blanc Individual, this may be something, if you want something that's heavier duty, if you can get an original bottle, this may be to your liking. But again, for me, I can appreciate it, this fragrance, because I think it is brilliant. But just like anything else, I personally don't like horror movies, but I can say, well, this is a good horror movie within its genre. And that's how you have to be able to judge fragrances. There are certain notes that I do not like, but when I smell them, I can say, yes, this is a very good neroli scent, and neroli is not a note that I like. So you have to learn how to judge them. Just because you don't like a particular note doesn't mean that you say, well, it's garbage. That's not true, because someone out there does like it. So you have to learn how to judge in a mature, objective manner and not just say, I hate it and that's it, because that's not proper. You have to judge it within a context. Everybody has their tastes, but you have to say within this genre or within this type of fragrance, yes, it is a brilliant fragrance that is like a fresh fragrance or aquatic or whatever, and versus just saying I hate it. So that's just a little tip when you're judging fragrances. Don't be too quick or too harsh to judge, because there is someone out there that likes it. And just because you have a particular taste does not really mean it's correct. It's just what you like. So for every fragrance, there's somebody that likes it. Always remember that. So if you like this video, hit the like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell. Any comments or questions, leave them down below. And thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.